joke, is it?
No, it is not a boring dad joke.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to resign as greeter if it were. Sorry, I'm setting up a YCDT meeting for this Thursday. Multitasking.
Yes, please. Yeah. Oh, you're doing that right now.
Yeah, because I got in touch with Andy, so we're good to go.
Awesome. I see Andy's in the meeting right now.
Hello, Andy. Welcome. I'm setting up the YCDT meeting, Andy. Look for it.
And Andy's muted. So when you say
he'll just nod appropriately, I guess.
Yeah. So when you
I see we got it.
When you say hi and you start this little conversation with people who are muted, it's sort of like being at the dentist's office.
Yeah, exactly. The power of the dentist.
That's right.
I see we got Patty here. I love her Rotary backgrounds. Look at you. You look great. And I love seeing people with their bookshelves behind them. It's good knowing people read.
And there's Doug Piper.
All right. Meeting sent. All right.
Well, while we're waiting for 12 noon to hit, can I tell the joke about three preachers running into a bar?
Sure. Where they all bonked their heads and got hurt?
No, they saw what happened was three preachers went into running into a bar, and they saw a big sign that said closed due to COVID. They looked at each other and said, well, I guess this joke is over.
This joke is over.
Okay, we really do want people to stay, so I'll stop.
Yeah, exactly. No more jokes, please. No more.
Don't
jokes.
quit my day job.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll take me the afternoon to get that joke, so whatever. Connecting to
Hi there, Ellen. Who's JC Collins?
Mr. JC in the house.
Good to see you.
Welcome, JC.
Mike Jagger, good to see you out today.
It's a great day to be at Rotary.
Remember to use the speaker view button at the top if you want to focus in on the speaker and kind of tune everyone else out.
Dr. Ski's in the house.
Oh, I see Larry Dittman and Frank Fraley. Good to see you. Oh, I got Norma Swain with her piano in the background. Oh, I can't wait to hear you play.
Are we playing today?
Not today. Soon.
Next time.
There's Ski.
Dr. Ski's in the house.
I'm not sure I've ever seen Ski wear something other than a suit or biker shorts.
But he's always looks good.
Oh, wait, a Christmas sweater. He did wear a Christmas sweater, yeah.
Trying to check out that background.
Right. Well, it's the top of the hour.
Whoops.
Here on Monday, August 24th. The longer I do these Zoom meetings, the more I feel a need to find, neat little opening comments. Like it's the top of the hour here on Monday, August 24th. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Harrisburg weekly meeting. It is so good to see everyone out here today. I think the heat wave might be coming back this week, so everyone stay cool. In our meeting today, once we get into the announcements section, we actually have about 5 minutes set aside for good news reporting. We do good news reporting to share good news and also to raise money for Rotary's effort to eradicate polio in the world. So if you share good news today, then we ask that you would follow up by making a donation to the Harrisburg Rotary Foundation. We will send those dollars to the Rotary Polio Plus Fund. So we will have time in our meeting for 3 people to report on good news that's happening. So if you'd like to share some good news, use the chat function to send Adeline a private message. And when we get to that time, we'll make sure that your mic is turned on. Do we have a bell to open the meeting today, Adeline? There we go. Welcome again. And our invocation today is from Steve Swartz.
Okay, let's join in prayer. Lord, thank you for health. We lift up those struggling in this area. Thank you for a place to call home. We pray for those on the street. Thank you for family and friends. We think of those who are alone. Thank you for food to eat. We think of those who don't have daily sustenance. Thank you for employment and income. We think of those who are struggling in this economy. Thank you for access to clean water. We lift up those who lack. Lord, bless our meeting. Thank you for this opportunity to join and to fellowship together. Amen.
Thank you, Steve. Adeline, what's on tap for our song today?
R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y is known how land and sea. From north to south, from east to west, the profit most who serves the best. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary.
Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the Rotary 4-way test. Of all the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Second, is it fair,
Is it
to,
fair
all
to
concerned?
all concerned?
Third, will it build
Will it build
goodwill
goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth, will it be
Will it be
beneficial
beneficial
to all concerned? Let's keep the Rotary 4-way test front and center as we go throughout our week. A great big thank you to Mike Jagger for taking minutes in our meeting today. Just as you're taking minutes, Mike, please remember the 4-way test. And a shout out too to our corporate members, Capital Blue Cross, UPMC, Highmark, Hospice of Central Pennsylvania, and the Harrisburg Regional Chamber and CREDIC. We so appreciate your support. Your financial support makes it possible for us to carry out the many humanitarian projects that we engage in throughout the year. Now, we are looking for nominations for the 2020 Community Service Award. To share a little bit more about what the Community Service Award is and how that works, here's Adeline.
Hi, it's Adeline from Rotary. Hey, we all know that as Rotarians, we hold service to our communities and to humanity as a priority in our lives. Each year since 1977, the Rotary Club of Harrisburg has presented the Community Service Award to a deserving member of our club. And now we're asking, who should be recognized for 2020? So who can be nominated? Well, anyone who's been a member of the Rotary Club of Harrisburg for at least 3 years, who goes above and beyond Rotary or the normal scope of their job to serve the community, the region, and the world. So last year, Joe Bedard received the Community Service Award for his amazing work in children's literacy. And who should not be nominated? Well, anyone who's already received the award. Sorry, Joe. And the club president or the president-elect. Sorry, James. Sorry, Matt. But I'm sure you can. Whoops. Anyway, I'm sure that you all can think of at least 3 people to nominate. And if you think of them, just send me an email and tell me why you think they deserve this. And if you don't have my email address memorized, it is Adeline, ADDELINE at hbgrotary.org.
So send in those nominations, and we look forward to hearing about folks that are well deserving of the Community Service Award. A couple of things coming up. There is a happy hour scheduled for Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, 2 days from today, August 26th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the West Shore Country Club. Now, a couple of notes about the happy hour. First of all, it is free to attend. Write that down. Big, bold letters underlined. It is free to attend. This is an opportunity to get out and see some of your fellow Rotarians in person. Like, we haven't done that for a while, and there will be plenty of space to social distance. So register online, but we're looking forward to seeing you between 5 and 7 over at the West Shore Country Club. Capona is coming up on Labor Day weekend, and we're looking for volunteers to help encourage social distancing in the food truck lines. And just a note there as well, there will be paid staff at the event to help support volunteers. And now we're at the good news reporting section of our meeting. Adeline, do we have anyone in queue for good news reporting?
No, unfortunately, I didn't get any messages unless there's some sort of a technical difficulty, which is possible. But I'll be happy to share something.
So no one has any good news whatsoever. I mean, you can share something, Adeline, but no one has any good news. Fire away.
Oh,
Adeline.
okay. Now that I said that, now that we have 2. So we have, first will be Steve Schwartz. Are you still unmuted, Steve? Here, let me unmute you. And then second, we have Matt Staub, and then we have Ski. Okay, so those are our 3. We have, first will be Steve, and then will be Matt Staub, and then it'll be Ski. All right, go ahead,
Okay.
Steve.
So first of all, had a doctor's appointment with my wife this morning, had a little bit of a cancer scare, but everything came back clean. So that's very good news. And we're very thankful for that. The other thing is, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we did a presentation on Joy to the Berg, the Christmas album that is being worked on to help the homeless in Harrisburg in partnership with the Rotary Club, also in partnership with Christian Church United. And 2 weeks ago when that presentation was done, we were up in the air about what we were going to be able to do about a concert because our just not able to do a live concert this year. And about a week ago, ABC 27 agreed to broadcast our concert as a Christmas special. So we're super thrilled about that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Steve. And remember, after you've done your good news reporting, head on out to hbgrotary.org. Click on the good news reporting and make a donation to the Harrisburg Rotary Foundation. Who's up next?
Next up is Matt.
All right, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to share that my wife, Sarah, who is also a member of our wonderful Rotary Club, has just been made partner at McNeese, Wallace, and Nurek. So it's been an exciting week there.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Matt.
We good?
There you go.
We're good.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that HAC began its 57th academic year today. And as you know, we were the first college to go remote in April for the fall, except for our allied health programs, our nursing program, and our trades. And I served as a screener this morning, and no one had a fever. Everybody filled out the form. Everybody wore a mask. And I walked through all the classes, and they were socially distanced, and they were doing everything they need to do to ensure that those professions and our first responders are out there to serve all of us. So congratulations to the students and to the faculty this week and over the next several weeks before they go totally remote as well.
Yay, congratulations. Good luck on a great school year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ski. And I know we said 3, but actually, you know, we do have a minute here. Can we grab JC Collins as well?
JC Collins, sure, let me find him here.
You're on, JC.
Hi there. Just wanted to throw a shout out. My triplets started school today at McDevitt, and they're sophomores. They are the first set of triplets at Bishop McDevitt High School in Harrisburg. And my youngest son, Chase, is a freshman. So I dropped my kids off for school today. So we hope they stay there for a while and they stay healthy.
All right.
Congratulations. Make sure you get them to sign up for YCDT next year.
I'll do that. Thank you.
All right. Thanks to everyone who shared good news. We'll be working at incorporating that good news reporting into our meetings. So in the month of July, and then again here in the month of August, we had a service event at the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, and we had a great time packing food boxes and helping the folks at Central Pennsylvania Food Bank in their mission to feed hungry people. And I just kind of wanted to reach out and get everyone's input and feedback on this. Big question for you. If there was an opportunity to do more things like helping to pack food boxes at the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, maybe even on a monthly basis, you know, no commitments really at this point. We're just gauging people's interest. Is that something that you would be interested in doing? If you have a poll up on the screen in front of you, please click yes or no. How are we doing? By show of hands, does everyone see the poll?
All right,
All right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What happens after the countdown? 97% of people said yes, we'd be interested in doing that. So good. We will continue to be looking for those opportunities. Now, since we've been meeting virtually, we've been taking a portion of the dues that we pay that would otherwise be used for lunch and donating those dollars to local charities. Making a tangible and positive difference is a big part of what it means to be a Rotarian. And that's what our lunch dues are doing. Now, since we've been meeting virtually, our club has donated a total of $13,600 to local charities. And I'm just, you know, pleased to report we've been getting a lot of really positive feedback to that. And we'll keep tweaking the details to try to have that fit the circumstances that we find ourselves in as time goes along. But this week's lunch money is being donated to the Salvation Army, Harrisburg Capital Region. If your lunch money is not included in your dues, or if you'd like to donate more, just go on out to the Salvation Army website here and click on the Donate Now button. But here today with a lunch money report to share with us about how some of those dollars are being used is Kathy Anderson from the Salvation Army, Harrisburg Capital Region. Kathy, you want to take 3 or 4 minutes and just share a bit?
Yes, well, thank you very much for the invitation and for including us in your meeting today. We appreciate it and appreciate the donation. Different reporter was here at the Salvation Army a few weeks ago or a month or two ago, and he said, are you guys reopening? And I said, well, we actually never shut down for a minute. I've worked at home a grand total of 1 day so far through all of this. So we've been here. And on March 16th, we shifted to an emergency services plan focused on food assistance. And just to give you, and it's done through a drive-through, a contactless drive-through by appointment. And in 22 weeks, we've served food for over 370,000 meals to, 12,044 people. And that has included 1,491 new households. So there are a lot of people coming to us who have never accessed services for the ever before. So it's been very, very busy with the food assistance. And just to support the food assistance, other activities that we're doing, I looked up last October, we were rescuing food from 10 different locations, about 18,000 pounds a month. Now we're doing 21 locations, and it's almost 40,000 pounds of food a month. And we certainly, mentioning as you, thank you for helping the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, because they're assisting us with the crisis boxes. And then we're adding fresh produce, dairy, eggs, meat, and household cleaners and those kinds of items, diapers, baby food, even pet food, to the orders for families that come through. So that's been a lot of our focus, but we've slowly been, we've maintained all of our other programs, a lot of through remote contact with our staff, or with our clients through phone, video, and so forth. This summer, we had 63 kids on site in our summer youth enrichment program. We were glad to have that. Prior to the pandemic, we had 130 kids registered, but could only have half given some of the guidelines. But we're very excited that starting next week, we'll be welcoming back our Head Start kiddos and into our 2 classrooms for Head Start. And also we are starting next week a school year enrichment program, because just because a lot of the schools haven't fully opened doesn't mean the parents they still have to go to work and they don't know what to do with their kids. So we have, we announced 40 openings for that, and I think they were all filled up within a day or two. I looked on last Thursday, we have kids that will be coming here to our building from 7 different districts, 20 different schools. And quite honestly, we could probably have a couple hundred spots for those kids to be here, but they'll be here with us maybe 2 days a week, all day, every day, depending on their situation and the situation of their parents, who don't have maybe flexibility in working from home or flexible hours. So we're doing a lot of different things that we never thought that we would be doing. I looked up when we had approached the Rotary for funds a year ago. We had just moved into our brand new building, and we're talking about all the wonderful after school activities we had going on, and we were doing that. And then March 16th, everything kind of changed. But in addition, we've also been providing education kits and recipe kits to kids. We've delivered over 1,000 of those, because a lot of the kids we serve, maybe the parents aren't at home or aware of how to help them with their virtual learning, or even to access. And we had some numbers that 30% of our kids were even logging on at the end of the school year to finish out their year, much less, and not having the support at home. So we're trying to provide that whichever way we can, even through, we created 36 virtual cooking classes that the kids could, and then gave them a meal kit so they could, and with their parents, prepare a meal and watch our staff doing that with them. So there's a lot of good things happening here, and we thank you for your support. We thank you for helping us to help families and children as we continue to navigate this in ways that we never expected. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you, Rotary Club of Harrisburg. Your Rotary dollars are helping to make an important difference in our world today. So there's a lot going on here in the Rotary Club of Harrisburg. To make sure that you are a part of the action, make sure that you have joined a committee, and make sure you read the roundup delivered to your email inbox each Friday. All right, Zoom meetings are kind of a challenge, and we miss seeing each other in person for sure. But one of the benefits of a Zoom meeting is the opportunity to hear from speakers that we might not be able to hear from otherwise. Maybe because of distance, they just can't pop over to the Hilton. I'm so impressed with the incredible speakers that our program committee is bringing to us. Here today to introduce today's speaker is program committee member Mary Oliveira.
Thank you, James, and thank you everyone for joining us for today's meeting. It gives me great pleasure, both personally and professionally, to bring our speaker to you, and I think how appropriate after hearing Kathy's report from the Salvation Army, when you learn a little bit more about Stephanie Doliveira, and while the names pretty much sound the same, we cannot claim familial connection. Just speaks to who Stephanie is as a person as well. So Kathy, you and Stephanie have a lot in common. Stephanie Doliveira is the Vice President of Human Resources for Sheetz Incorporated. She's responsible for strategic planning and execution of all employee-related initiatives. Sheetz, which is a family-owned convenience and food retailer based in Altoona, Pennsylvania, has more than 21,000 employees throughout their 6-state operating area. Recognized by Fortune as one of the 100 best companies to work for, best places to work for women, and best places to work for millennials, Sheetz is committed to offering sustainable careers built on an inspiring culture. And as all of our business leaders in our club are looking at ways to continue to navigate this new norm of leading their businesses, we thought it would be so appropriate to have Stephanie share her thoughts today on what leading the workforce through COVID looks like at Sheetz. The Great Place to Work Institute awarded Stephanie the inaugural Great Place to Work for All Leadership Award in March 2018. She was recognized with the Top Women in Convenience honor in 2016 and 2020 by Convenience Store News. Stephanie is a strong advocate for children, childcare, and early learning. There's that connection, Kathy. She has been a member of the Governor's Early Learning Investment Commission in Pennsylvania since 2008 and was recently appointed as co-chair of the commission. She serves as the Sheetz Family Charities Board and the Blair County Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. Prior to joining Sheetz, Stephanie practiced labor and employment law. She received a Bachelor of Science degree in Labor and Industrial Relations from Penn State University and her Juris Doctorate from Widener University here in the Commonwealth. Stephanie and her husband Brad have 2 sons, Gabriel and Carter, and it's my pleasure to welcome Stephanie to our program today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Mary and James, and to all of the Rotarians out in Harrisburg for having me today. I was sharing with James a little bit earlier that I did spend 3 years in Harrisburg while I was going through law school, and those are definitely fond memories of my time in the Harrisburg area. I just wanted to start out by saying thank you to all of you for your service. I think it's amazing to me that so many business leaders are willing to give their time and their talents to your communities. And I think that's what makes all of our communities so much stronger, is when you're willing to give outside of what is expected. So thank you on behalf of all of our communities, but specifically the Harrisburg community, of the time that you've given back. And I got goosebumps when Kathy was talking about all the great work that the Salvation Army is doing, but the support that the Rotarians there in Harrisburg have provided to the Salvation Army. And in a little while, I'll talk a little bit about Sheetz' connection with the Salvation Army. But I'd like to talk a little bit about what's been happening at Sheetz and how we've been trying to lead our organization through this global pandemic. It has been quite the 6 months for certain. And I'm hoping that some of the things that I share with you today highlights the culture that we have at Sheetz, and maybe helps you with how you're responding to COVID or to any issues within your business, whether it's small or it's large. So I think probably most of you have are familiar with Sheetz. We have a lot in the Dauphin County area, in the surrounding Harrisburg area. If you haven't, I'll tell you just a little bit of our business. We were founded in 1952 by a gentleman named Bob Sheetz. We were a mom and pop convenience store that started in Altoona, Pennsylvania, 1 store. And it was a very small store that was very community based. And I share that with you because two things about that beginning have really remained part of our culture at Sheetz. And the first is family. So Bob Sheetz really recruited family members to come work in his business. And over the years, a lot of different Sheetz family members have worked for the company. And we continue to be family owned and operated this day in 2020 and privately held. But the second thing was community. And Bob, that small store back in 1952, was really focused on the small community in Altoona, Pennsylvania. And what did the neighbors of that community need? Not only what did they need as far as bread and other products that they could use, but also what does the community need? And so what is really rooted in our culture is just that making sure we're always connected to the communities in which we operate and family. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. We do about $8 billion in revenue annually. So we're a large company. We have over 600 stores in 6 states. That surprises people, I think. A lot of, especially in our hometown of Altoona, the folks here in Altoona remember us still as a small company, but we are now over 600 stores, as I said, across 6 states and 21,000 employees. So we're no longer a small organization. And we view that as such a positive in that we can continue to do great things in the communities in which we operate our stores. In addition to having those 600 stores, we have 2 distribution centers, one located in Blair County and one in Burlington, North Carolina. We have the great majority of our employees work in our stores, but we also have hundreds of truck drivers. We have our own maintenance employees that help to maintain the equipment and our stores. We have the people who make donuts at our 2 commissaries, and all of the ready-to-eat products that you might find in a Sheetz store. So we have quite a variety of jobs at Sheetz. And then we have traditional corporate positions. We have probably about 1,500 people working on our campus in Claysburg, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Altoona. You're all welcome to come visit us anytime that you might be in the area. We'd be happy to give you a tour when we're not in COVID. So that's just a little bit about our company. We sell a lot of food. We sell a lot of products. We're selling a lot of beer during COVID. We've learned that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about our culture and our values, because that's really been what has been the backbone of how we've led through COVID. So about 15 or 16 years ago, we went through an intense process to identify what are our corporate values, what are our company's values. And through about a year process, we developed something called our Sheetz DNA, and that's the statement of our corporate values. And at the heart of our DNA, as we like to say, is respect. And that's the key component of our values, even though other values are things like being connected, being real and authentic, driven to win, and high energy. Those are all other characteristics of our values. At the heart of it has always been respect. We talk about that respect in a couple terms. One, respect for our employees and their families, respect for our customers, and respect for the communities in which we operate. And so really everything that we do revolves around that respect for those 3 groups. When COVID hit, and I've barely had enough time to really pull my head up, quite honestly, because we've really been head down daily since, I say March 13th. That feels like the day that the bottom fell out, and that happened to be a Friday, and I remember it very clearly. But since that time, we've really been head down in working to do the right things by our employees, by our customers, and by our communities. And certainly I've said this to a bunch of groups that I've had the opportunity to talk with, and I've said it internally, there is no playbook And we were certainly not prepared for a global pandemic. We had gone through maybe some scenarios. We have a fantastic safety group that forced us to go through some scenarios that might happen. But I can tell you that the little bit of work that we had done around global pandemic, we were certainly not prepared. And I'm sure many of you would agree that your businesses were most likely scrambling in the beginning. Wanted to talk a little bit about those early days and what we talked about and how that's really driven our actions ever since. So one of the things that is super important to us at Sheetz is transparency. And so from the beginning, we agreed that we would be transparent with our employees and with our customers and with our communities. And what that means is that we certainly were not experts on COVID and certainly are not experts to this day on COVID, but we would pass along what we would learn to our employees and to our customers. And we learned a lot in those first few weeks about best practices. So things like great hand washing and how important that is. I had to smile at the beginning of the Rotary meeting, the Rotary song, and there was the hand washing. And so we taught our employees, obviously we serve food, we have very high food safety standards, but we really upped our game as it related to washing hands, and then we instituted wearing masks. And but in those early days, we just were doing our best to stay connected with the CDC and following those guidelines, and then passing that along to our employees and our customers. Two things that were really important to us and remain critically important as we're talking about our employees: safety and security. And security comes in the form of job security. Those are two things that we knew we had to be talking about almost daily with our workforce. We never shut our doors, so we were deemed essential from the beginning. So when a lot of businesses were closing and dealing with needing to either lay people off or the difficult decisions that they had to make early on, we were dealing with, oh my goodness, how do we stay open and how do we keep people safe? And so very quickly we honed in on safety and security, and that became really our mantra behind the scenes of what can we do to ensure we're keeping people safe and secure. And that changed daily. It really did. The CDC was issuing, as you all know, if you've been staying on top of it, daily new guidance was coming out from the CDC. And obviously we were also staying very connected with the state's departments of health. And so we actually had a call early on with the Pennsylvania Department of Health on really understanding what their expectations were for businesses that would stay open. And so we were committed to learning as much as possible to keep our employees safe. So we over the course of the last, the first couple weeks, we instituted things like a higher amount of sanitization. And then we learned more that we needed to do more disinfecting. And I've learned a lot about cleaning, a lot more than I ever anticipated I would learn. There is definitely a difference between sanitizing and disinfecting. And when you serve food, there's obviously precautions you need to take when you're disinfecting. And so we had to ensure our employees were trained on how to properly disinfect with the chemicals that would kill the coronavirus. And so we very quickly were securing those chemicals. We were training our employees, and we are currently in a process where sanitizing all the time, but we are disinfecting every 4 hours, which is actually above and beyond what the CDC and the Department of Health would require. We just feel like it's super important to both our customers and our employees to be regularly cleaning. We obviously moved pretty quickly to our employees wearing masks. That was not an easy thing to do because, as you all know, the topic of masks is polarizing. And it is polarizing for our customers as well, which has really been difficult on our employees because they are being asked to enforce customers wearing masks. We're working through that. We've been working through that for months. Some other things that we did out of the gate is we made the decision from April through June, we paid our hourly employees $3 more an hour. We did that because we wanted them to have that security. And we also wanted to thank them for working on the front lines during a very tenuous time. We instituted wellness checks. So every employee before they come to work have to certify that they don't have one of the COVID symptoms, that they get their temperature taken before they start their shift. And then we've worked very hard not to penalize those who say that they do have a symptom. And, if you are familiar with the COVID symptoms, it could be, I have a headache, or I have the sniffles, or I have a stomach ache. Well, those are all symptoms that could be related to something else, but we certainly wanted our employees to be cautious, and we didn't want them to be penalized for not coming to work. And so we suspended our absenteeism programs. We've offered both paid and unpaid leave of absence. From April through June, we offered to anyone 65 or older a paid leave because we were really concerned about those with compromised immune systems and those 65 or older, which were deemed to be more vulnerable to the virus by the CDC. So we've really tried hard for these last 6 months to focus on safety and security. One other thing that we've added, I should tell you that we've had, and we've been very transparent about this, we've had 155 positive cases of our 21,000 employees. And that sounds like a small number, but we treat every case with very high touch. And so when we determine that someone has tested positive, we are basically doing the contact tracing of who they would have worked with over the past 48 hours. In the beginning stages, we were actually quarantining anyone who had been in contact with that employee for 14 days. We are now not obligated to do that because we have so many safety measures in place. But we still contact every employee personally that may have been impacted by that positive. And that has taken, my team is tired, I'll just tell you, because with 155 positive cases, I needing to call roughly 30 employees that may have worked with that other employee. And we've talked to thousands of employees, over this COVID pandemic. I would say also, we knew that we needed to also focus on our customers, and that's why we instituted additional cleaning, and we require customers to wear masks. In addition, we're obligated by law, but prior to being obligated by law, we asked our customers to wear masks. And then as it relates to our communities, for April through June, we provided free lunches to any children that would come in and said that they needed a free lunch, no questions asked. So at the moment that they said they needed a free lunch, we provided that, and we gave away a lot of free lunches, over 250,000 free lunches during that time period, which we were so happy to do. We also have instituted a employee relief fund that is focused specifically for COVID. So while our employees are still able to work, many of our employees' spouses are impacted by COVID, either being laid off or their hours being cut back. And so we have instituted an employee relief fund where they can apply for funds where employees have actually donated to help their fellow employees. So we're very proud of that as well. One of the things that we did early on that has remained is that we put a small leadership team together that would really look at any type of COVID issue daily. So from March 13th through about July, we had a daily call, and it was the president of the company, Travis Sheetz, a handful of other executives, and I somehow became the leader of that group. And so I've been leading our COVID efforts since March. And we had a daily call up until about July, and then we realized we didn't need to talk daily, And so now twice a week we talk, and we address whatever issues are coming our way. To give you an example, something that we've been talking about in the last week has been back to school. Kathy hit on this. You know, I think for working parents, this is just such a disastrous time, especially working parents that have young children. I was helping our executive team, who happened to be a bunch of men who are older. And when I say older, I just mean their children are older. And I was trying to help them to understand, if you have a 7-year-old and your school has gone to virtual or part-time virtual, that has just wreaked havoc on your life. And it's wreaked havoc on your life because your child would have gone to school and you would go to work. But now your child is home. And if absent having an option, like Kathy mentioned, through the Salvation Army, or if you're very fortunate to have a parent who's able to be there with them, there's not a lot of solutions for working parents. And so, we've had this conversation for the last couple of weeks at Sheetz and just made the decision, we're going to give our employees time to figure this out. And so our store employees can ask for a schedule change, and we're going to work with them for 30 days on a modified schedule. But let's just face it, most people can't go without working. And so we're going to continue to work with them as schools continue to make decisions about students. So that's the kind of stuff that our leadership team has been working on. We've talked more about additional pay options for our employees, and that's the type of stuff that we're talking about. I feel extremely blessed to work for a company and a family who really wants to do the right thing by our employees, by our customers, and by our communities. And honestly, this has been a very difficult job for the last 6 months, but I can't imagine doing this job for any other company besides the Sheetz family and the Sheetz organization, because there's just never a question on whether we should be doing the right thing by people or not. And I know it was given till about 12:45. I've talked without taking a breath, but I want to be respectful of our time. But I'm happy to take any questions. It looks like there's some things maybe in the chat box. Let's see, before COVID. Oh, Adeline, thank you for saying about seeing, one of the things that people love about their local Sheetz is they do get to know the employees that work on the Sheetz. And our Sheetz employees have said time and time again, what they love about working for Sheetz are two things. One, their work community. So the people that they work with, they really feel like they're a family. But by time and time again, they say, we love our customers. We love seeing those familiar faces and seeing them every day as they are on their journey of life. So
thank you so much, Steph. And let's give her a big hand, a great big Rotary round of applause for that presentation. And it's so good to hear, we do need to be going forward, right? And it's good to hear how an organization like Sheetz is working with their employees and their communities moving forward. Kathy just noted about Sheetz being some of the food rescue stops each week. Was there anything more, Steph, that you wanted to note about that relationship with Salvation Army?
Yeah, thank you so much. So we've had a relationship with Salvation Army since 1992 with the start of our employee run charity. It started out as a Sheetz Family Christmas, but over the years we've gone beyond a Christmas program, and the name of the charity is Sheetz for the Kids. And so our charity is focused on children. Our first partnership began with the Salvation Army. To this day, we have a fantastic relationship with Salvation Army in every community in which we operate stores. Certainly with the Harrisburg area, we do as well. Through our charity, we have three main programs. One is our Christmas program, where we basically adopt children across the 6-state operating area. Roughly around 9,000 children every Christmas receive gifts, and they are gifts of often it's underwear and boots and clothing and the essentials that they need, but it's also toys and to bring joy into their homes at a time where it's not always joyous. We are reminded daily that there isn't always joy at Christmas time, and so we started our charity around that. We expanded our charity to include Make-A-Wish, and so we grant roughly 65 wishes annually for children to select whatever wish that they wanted to. And then most recently, we've partnered with Feeding America, and we're feeding a lot of children through Feeding America. And Feeding America has partnerships with places like the food bank in central Pennsylvania. And then through that, we're able to feed children. So we've had a long-standing relationship with Salvation Army, and we're just so fortunate to have that continue.
Yeah, thank you. One question here, and then just a couple comments that I'll highlight. As a general percentage, having 155 employees test positive out of 21,000 seems light, particularly as Sheetz has such a retail presence. Is this your sense as well?
Yeah, I think when you're in the thick of it, 155 feels like a lot, but when you step back and look at it, it really isn't in the grand scheme of things. We've had probably about 1,100 employees test, and so the great majority of those are testing negative. I think what we've learned, and I'm certainly not an expert, but I can just tell you from our data, is that it appears that people are not transmitting the virus at work. Because we do all of the tracing, and we've had only one instance in those 155 cases where it appears like 2 employees gave it to each other. And as we learned, that they were carpooling, and while they were carpooling, they weren't wearing the mask. And so, that's the kind of stuff, like, I have zero control over that. We ask our employees to, be safe, but people are people. And so what we've learned is that we have not seen with our cases that there's any transmission between employees. Not entirely possible, but that's not been the case. And as you said, James, 155 cases is pretty small.
Yeah. Is that's particularly steps that you're taking there at Sheetz, right? That you think are really attributing to that?
Yeah, I think 3 things. Employees wearing masks at all time except for when they're eating or drinking. Hand washing all the time. I mean, we're regularly washing our hands because we're preparing food, but just really emphasizing that. And then the wellness checks. We're just asking people, when you're not feeling well, do not come to work. And so those wellness checks have really proven to be beneficial because people have said, okay, I'll stay home, and then they go get tested, and then as it turns out, they had a sore throat, but it turned out to be COVID. So it's good that they didn't come to work with a sore throat. Mm-hmm. The only other thing I would add there, James, and I know I'm going long probably on time, is from an employer perspective, what was so important to us is that people didn't feel like they had to come to work. So we provided some pay. We continue to provide pay when people are sick to stay home. Otherwise, remember, these are employees that are working an hourly wage, and they just can't afford to not be paid. They can't afford to take a day off without pay. And so it was really important to us to make sure people were incented to stay home if they weren't feeling well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. No, you're actually doing really well on time. This is a great presentation. And I think I speak for everyone, when I say that. Just again, a couple of quick questions. What 6 states are Sheetz in?
Sure. So we started out in Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania is number 1, and then Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, North Carolina. Was that 6? I lost track.
I lost track, but thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're growing significantly. One of the things that's amazing about Sheetz is that we just don't stop. And we just made the announcement that we're going to grow significantly in Columbus, Ohio. Committing to 50 stores in 3 years, which is pretty fast for us. So that hasn't slowed down because of coronavirus, which is mind-boggling.
Right.
And
Again, just thanks so much. Really, top notch. We appreciate your presentation today. Give Steph again a great big round of applause. Thank you so much, and we look forward to maybe hearing from you again in the future. I think you did say, you were saying in the sound check that you had been a scholarship, or you had received a Rotary scholarship like back when you were a student or something.
Yeah, when I was in high school. And then I was a Rotarian for a while. Actually, when I practiced law, the law firm that I practiced with continues to be very involved in the Rotary in our community. And so I was a Rotarian for a short time. And I just to thank you again. I started by saying this, but I want to end with saying this. Just thank you to all of you for your ongoing support of your community. It really makes a difference. And I think it's amazing when business leaders and community leaders come together, just what good work can be done. And so just kudos to all of you for the work being done. And then I also wanted to say that my husband and I would like to make a donation to the Harrisburg Rotary Foundation. So he and I will make that donation. I'll connect with Adeline to see how we might do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, Rotary Club of Harrisburg, another hour has gone by quickly, and it's so good, again, to hear all of the good things that are going on right here in our very own Rotary Club. Our next meeting will be Monday, August 31st. And presenting will be our very own Richard Utley, doing a presentation on Care Court and some of the important mentoring work that the folks in Care Court are doing with folks who are re-assimilating into society after they've been in prison. So we don't hear about Care Court a whole lot, but I think it's an important thing that we're doing as a club and a great program there. So Richard, we're looking forward to your presentation next week. Have a great Rotary week. Again, it's good to see everyone, and we look forward to seeing you here again next week.